what's your take on why Kucinich's efforts in Congress did not result in the impeachment that he has tried so faithfully to bring about?
Because the Democratic Party, by and large, I hate to say it because I've been a lifetime Democrat, but they're spineless. They really are. I know you didn't like the answer that I gave, but I have to be candid with you. They're spineless. Nancy Pelosi, when I was writing this book, I wrote her a letter, and I said, this is going to be the hardest hitting book ever written against George Bush. It's an area that I'd like to have a little help from you on. She didn't even bother to respond. There's a little deeper answer to your question. I'll go into it. It takes a little while. And when I was in Richmond, Virginia, I got a little confirmation of this sense that I have. I trace all of this back to a fear by the Democratic Party of the right wing in America. The right wing, this is a group that Barry Goldwater told before he died, you know, we've always had the right wing in America, but they used to be an embarrassment to people like Eisenhower, Nixon, and Ford. They were on the fringes. Now they've taken over the party. And he told the right wing, do not associate my name with anything you do. You've done more damage to the Republican Party than the Democrats have. These people have transformed, in my opinion, this nation into a nation where, for the very first time, everyday Americans, many of them, including myself, no longer feel 100% safe and secure. People yield to fear, and they cater to those who are the source of fear. When you have a decent, honorable man like Mario Cuomo saying, quote, I respect Rush Limbaugh, an uncommonly loathsome individual. And if I may be so presumptuous, Mario Cuomo does not respect Rush Limbaugh. How would that be possible? But to me, it's just one example of a great many of the shadow of fear that has descended upon this once great nation. Now let me ask you a question. It's a rhetorical question that might convince you that maybe the right wing is responsible for the answer that I gave to your question. Okay? What do you think would happen to Bill Clinton if he did the same identical thing that George Bush did the last 8 years, including the Iraq War? What do you think would happen to Clinton? The death penalty would be too good for him. They would have skinned him alive. So what's the answer? It's not the right wing. Anyway, I want to give you now, I'm going to tell you something. I had this sense, you have a feeling about things. It's the right wing. I was in Richmond, and some community activists, wonderful people. All of these community activists are wonderful people. Like the people that my volunteer publicist, Eileen Proctor, sitting to my right, done a tremendous job for me. We've been blacked out by the mainstream media. She's done a tremendous job getting me into the alternative media. You know, I've told them, these people, we stayed at their homes. A lot of them are very poor. And on a day-to-day basis, they're fighting to preserve this country. It's going down the tubes, and they don't want it to go down the tubes. They want it to remain or go back to the way we used to. And I tell them, I said, you know, you folks, I honor you tremendously, because you're out there every day. I said, I'm not. What I do is I write books, true crime books, and every now and then something outrageous happens. I become so inflamed that I get involved with you folks, and you've accepted me. Like in 2000, they stole the election. I wrote an article for the Nation, I'm there called treason. It had the biggest response in the from the subscribers in the 136-year history of the Nation, dating to the last year of the Civil War, and I wrote the book Betrayal of America. And after that, I go back to my regular work, and you folks are out there every day on the front lines. I respect and I honor you very, very much. Now we went to war and false pretenses, so I'm back with you folks. But there's a lot of activists out there, and I respect all of you and I honor you. But let me tell you something. You people are the true Americans, okay? You're the ones that love America. And yet the right wing, who do not love America, look down upon Cindy Sheehan. Her son died in the war, and they called her a traitor. These are the most repugnant, un-American, unpatriotic people in America. Let me give you one example. I could give you many more. The Vietnam War, it was their turn to fight for America during the Vietnam War. What did they do? I'm talking about the Bushes and the Cheneys and the Roves and the Limbaughs of the world. They ran like hell in the opposite direction. But now they have no hesitancy. Waving the flag. They don't want to fight for it, but waving the flag and shedding the blood of other people's children in far off Iraq. I want to tell you, Democrats, something I think you should take my advice on, because I hear it all the time. The right wing, un-American, unpatriotic, they don't care about America. They pledge allegiance to the Republican Party, not to the American flag. But every time they accuse the Democrats or progressives or what have you of being un-American, unpatriotic, you know what the Democratic response is? I see the paper. No, we love America. We're just as patriotic as you are. That's a wrong answer. Absolutely wrong. You're much more patriotic and much more American than these despicable human beings. But you constantly say, we love her just as much as you do. They don't love America. When I testified before the House Judiciary Committee and the right wing tried to shut me down, I'm talking about some of the congressmen. One of them, his name was Lamar Smith, a congressman from Texas. He was to the left of John Conyers. And at one point, when I was presenting the evidence, I brought evidence. I wasn't just talking. I had the evidence in front of me. And he shouted out something. It was a jumble of words I couldn't hear, but apparently on YouTube. He said, if you don't shut him up, referring to himself, I'm going to have an aneurysm. And then he looked at me, because that didn't work, because Conyers did not shut me up. He said, you're getting into classified information. I said, no, Congressman, you are 100% wrong. This document here has been declassified. How would I cotton it? It hadn't been declassified. And I said, this document right here was never classified. So they asked me, the media, afterwards, why were the Republicans trying to shut me down? I said, I'll tell you why they were trying to shut me down. Because they're much more Republican than they are American. They didn't want the truth to come out. Long answer to your question.